Right guys, look a bit tired today. See that there? I just really like tits. Love it. Nice one, Carol. Listen, I just thought I'd put this out there as well. Is the other thing is this bait what I've just rolled are the 9 kilo tub of pop-ups and a glug. Nah, the guy that's bought it is ex-military. I've mentioned it before in one of my posts. Now, I've got a lot of respect for our armed forces and all armed forces. To be honest with you, I think they're doing something that most of us nowadays wouldn't do. It's sad to say, but the way this country is at the minute, couldn't see me ever fighting for it. I really couldn't. It's lost. It's lost. As far as I'm concerned, this country's lost. But the guy that's ordered this is like I said, is ex-military, and so that means I've done it him cheaper as his bait, and I don't care. I've had some said to me, oh, you've got to make sure that you're making some, and I'm still making some. I'm fucking totally stupid, you know what I mean? I'm making something, but the guy's getting his bait cheaper. He was in armed forces, and he's served, and he's done his duty for this country. As far as I'm concerned, any little things that people can do for somebody like that, they should do it. And if there's people out there that are charging full and not class him as being different he's on a different level to us normal folks. The guys are being and seeing shit that none of us could. We don't even dream shit like that. You know what I mean? So as far as I'm concerned, he gets his bait cheaper, and that applies for anybody that's in armed forces. Now the thing is I asked him for proof of that he were in armed forces, because I've had people say they were in armed forces before, and then once I've asked them if they've got any proof that they were in armed forces, which I was told to do that off a guy that had a big bait company, he says, because he had quite a few that were saying they were in armed forces and they weren't. Now I got a couple as well doing that, so I asked him, and I think he got a little bit offended by it to start off with, and then after he thought about it a bit, I think he thought, yeah, he's right in asking, and he sent me some pictures of him, and honest to God, it's a straight away I know, you know what I mean, just from talking to him. He's a nice bloke as well. I've not met him yet, but he's a nice bloke. So they're at the minute I've done him 9 kilo of boilies. Well, I think it's just under 9 kilo, but I've made that, I think, about 200 gram under 9 kilo, which I've made that up for him paste. Plus, I've also done him a tub of Tutti Frutti bottom baits that have, I mean, absolute like high quality up baits they are. A tub of pop-ups to match the standards of their the baits, the round baits. But when he's fishing over, even when I'm fishing over the barrels, I will still use a round bait. I sometimes trim them down depending on the size of the hook. If it's a size 6 ridge monkey, I sometimes trim them down just to make them that little bit smaller. But I always go for around 16 millis, because around 16 milli gives you the option of any bait size you want, really, down from 16 mil. And you can also up it by adding a little bit of fake corn to it, or cutting just a sliver off top and then tipping it. Which I also had a tub full of all pop-ups. I'll get them from you now. Now I also had a tub of old pop-ups from a long time ago, but they still smell mint. And I put them up on internet, and I put them up if anyone's got any kids that have just started carp fishing, get in touch with me. I've got some pop-ups. Now I didn't say they were for free, because I wanted to see what response I got, but I were going to give them for free. But I'm just going to chuck these in with if he wants them, he wants them. If he don't want them, he bins them. But there's about four tubs there. But the thing he's got is he's got stuff like them in there, little toppers like that. It's when I started messing about with stuff, I started messing cubes. So that's getting flung in as well, because if not, it's just going in bin. I've got enough stuff all over the place. So there's probably about three tubs there, 3 tubs probably. And then you've got the 2 tubs of pop-ups and the bait as well. And then also the glug. Now this is a flavour that it's the only flavour that I've been using myself, and it's Jaffa. It's and it ain't from a bait company. I think it's NutriBase that do Nutty Jaffa. Well, this ain't theirs. It's just one I've come up with myself, and it tastes and smells like Jaffa cakes. That's what it tastes of. But the great thing about this is, if you coat a bait in it, I've said it on another post, it doesn't change the colour of the bait. But if you put it on a pop-up, it will add extra weight to that pop-up, and it may cause it to be a wafter. So be aware of that if you're using it. What I do is I put a little bit in a bucket. I get a normal size bait bucket that holds about 5 litre, and I will probably put about that much into the lake water. I'll mix it all together. Mixing it all together, drop all my bait into it, and when you first put it in, the glug will sink. It'll sink onto the bottom, and it'll look like blood on bottom at lake water, because I've made it heavy so it sinks, and it doesn't. It's heavier than water, so I've done it in this way so that it doesn't float off if it's windy. It will sink automatically, but you also get droplets that'll come back up in water column. It's just more attraction. But like I said, this is probably what I will be doing. Most of my winter fishing will be done with Nutty Jaffa. It's been in fridge, this, by the way. It needs really keeping in a fridge as well. Same with the paste as well that I've done him. This paste here. Nah. That's what it's like to fly. Right. Now the paste I've done him is I've done him to make up for I think it were 150, 200 gram. I think it was 150 gram, might have been 125, something like that. That it was down on 9 kilo. I've made it up for many times over with the paste. So if you did want, you could roll that paste into 20 shapy ones, drop it into boiling water, boom, there you go, you've got boilies. It's boilie paste, you know what I mean? So, but the breakdown rate on it, depending on how long you've emptied my freezer, dude. Serious. Depending on how long you boil it for. Now, I will give a little bit of advice on that as well. Is when it comes to boiling that paste, you could if you're bored one day, get on a little tray, and just the best thing to do is roll it into a long sausage that's about whatever size you want, 14mm eye, 15mm eye, a long one, and then chop them all into the same size. You've made bait before, I think you said to me, so you'll know this anyway. And then just spend your time just making them lovely and perfectly round. But if I were you, I would get some something like some like coconut flour, or just a bit. I tell you, icing sugar will do the job. Icing sugar on a tray. So once you've rolled them, you put them on that tray of icing sugar. Keep rolling them on that tray of icing sugar. Then when you've done them, roll them so all the baits come covered in the icing sugar. All that's going to do is it's going to give you baits that aren't going to have one side flat, unless you want them for rivers. Now if you want them for rivers, a great tip is roll them round and then just put something heavy on top and just press down gently on it. So it gives you a round bait but with a flat side on either side of it. They're a bait I'm going to be doing in winter for barbel, then, by the way. So they're not going to be flipping down river like a round bait would. It's going to be a round bait but with flat sides, a bit like a flat pear lead, a bit like that, but perfectly round. So it's just stuff like that you could do. But that paste, the breakdown on it is pretty. It's it will break down fairly fast until it's boiled, but it's the reason I've done it here in sections as well, is so you can break a piece off and take a small piece with you out at freezer, undo it, snap a piece off, cover it back up into a bag, tight bag shut, into the freezer, defrost a bit that you're taking with you for the next day. And the thing to do is, I would definitely do this as well, is I would tiny little bit of oil on your hands and just rub it into your hands, and then when you get the paste, just work it into the paste the next day when it's defrosted. Work it into the paste, and you will find that it'll sit perfectly on a hook. I fish a lot with I fish a lot with paste and stuff, and it works great for me. So there's just a few tips for you. There you go, pal. Laters.